Welcome, Walnut. I'm Lara, but you can call me Laz, your host for Walnut Wednesday. This is your reminder to be brave, be yourself, and know that you can make the world a better place just by what you decide today. Here, I'm going to share my weekly walnuttings with you on a Wednesday. Hi, Walnut. It is me, Laz, here for another episode of Walnut Wednesday. And this week I'm very excited because I have a wonderful guest on, Danni of Danni Rose Designs. Welcome.
Hello. Hi, thank you.
Thank you so much for visiting us. So, Walnut, Danni is a fashion designer, business owner, fellow Kiwi. Danni, I'll just get you to introduce yourself, please, and let the Walnuts know who you are.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, so I'm Danni Rose and I am the owner of Danni Rose Designs, which is a New Zealand-made fashion label. Basically it's quite a small business. It's me and one other, and everything's designed and made in New Zealand, which is, I guess, quite different to most other fashion labels as well.
Awesome. And so how long have you been doing this for?
As a business, probably I would say since 2019, but the idea sparked while I was at university learning about the fashion industry. Especially I went into a bit of a deep dive on the fast fashion industry as well, and just kind of realized how bad that is for not just the environment, but the people who are sewing the garments as well. And also, I guess, just the quality and the longevity of the clothes. So there's a statistic that most people, like 70% of their wardrobe is worn not once or one time, which is just crazy to me. So I was like, obviously people are buying things now that are really, really cheap. And there's nothing, I guess, wrong with that as well, like given certain people's budgets and things. But if they're buying it because it's cheap and it's more of like an impulse buy, and then they're not really like loving the garment, and because it was a lower cost, they're kind of just like donating it or throwing it away or just having it and never wearing it. So there's kind of like multiple different, I would say, like issues in the fashion industry. At the time I was also working in retail as well, a woman's fashion label, which was really cool. But what it made me do as well, I would spend hours at the fitting rooms, like helping women choose different sizes and style them and things like that as well. And I guess during that, I realized how upset some people can be when they're choosing garments in a retail store, and trying it on and it not fitting how they expected, and leaving the store feeling quite deflated as well, and a bit sad. And I mean, my main issue was always just that everything was too long. So I'd just go home and chop it and make it shorter. But, like that was kind of what sparked this thing in me. Like, it would be amazing to be able to do made to order, because just because someone's getting smaller doesn't mean they're getting shorter. And just because someone's getting bigger doesn't mean they're getting taller, right? So then if you're a size, like a larger size but a shorter person, like it can be really hard to find things. And it's the same the opposite if you're quite a smaller person but you're very tall. Like it was just so common seeing things like that, and it's really hard to get the standard size. So I was like, if I can make garments that fit people perfectly, that would just be a dream for me. So that all started, long story short, that all started the idea while I was at university, and then I spent my final year for my honors paper doing a business plan for what I'm now doing, which I guess at the time I didn't really think. I thought I could do it, but I just kind of like, it was a big dream for me. I was like, imagine if I can create this. And then now I'm doing what I had spent like a whole year planning a business proposal around is now what I do. So it's pretty amazing.
Oh my gosh, I love it. And I can hear like how actually passionate you are. It's not just like oh yeah, I thought this would be cool. It's actually like I wanted to do this. These are the reasons. And it's probably not probably, I know that it is motivating and inspiring women everywhere. I personally have been a person that goes into particular stores that are normal chain stores and have had that deflated feeling of, oh, I never buy pants from there because they never fit me, and because the sizings are actually like the number is smaller but I'm bigger and all the things, so it's like it's never quite right, and so that's
and along with that
love.
experiences as well, it could be like if you're at, say, the changing rooms, and just say like somebody's working there, it's their part-time job, they don't really care, they're not being very helpful, and you're sort of like wanting to find a pair of jeans that fit. And I've had this happen to me multiple times. And then like fair enough, I don't really care, it's their part-time job, whatever, but then it doesn't help your experience of being like, oh, these aren't really fitting right, could you suggest something else? And then it not really being that sort of experience anymore, so you're losing like a connection to the garment and the brand and everything. So I was like, I want to like connect with my customers and really like create like a conversation with them, have back and forth, like help them design their garment and like take their measurements and everything like that. And rather than buying clothes be like sort of a negative experience, not that it always is, but you know, I could see that so often, like every day when I was working at that store, like create like a really fun, engaging experience for the customer to really like have a connection with their garment and like love it and feel a part of the creation, and just, you know, wear it weekly if they want, you know?
Yeah, and that's what, when I'm shopping now for stuff, I always try and shop for like things that actually fit me, which is why I love what you do, and wearing them all the time. And I really love the idea of like capsule, you know, wardrobes, or like the pieces that you have that you do just wear to work on a Monday and then wear it again the next week and then wear it out to dinner on the Saturday, and that is just multi-use, can be dressed up, dressed down. I love the idea of it. I just haven't managed to like get my way through everything and do a whole sweep of everything. But I love the idea of it, and I love the sustainable aspect that you bring to the table as well. Especially, I noticed that what you've been doing lately is using the offcuts to make custom pieces. I think that is so fun and beautiful. Do you want to tell me a little bit more about like the thinking? I mean, maybe was it quite obvious, but the thinking behind that?
Yeah, well, I guess like when I started my business, like I obviously had the business plan of like what I was going to do, which was make majority made to order garments where the customer can choose their fabric, enter their size, and like customize it if they want, like make it shorter or longer, etc. And I make it for them. And so that's kind of the whole, like the main idea of the business. But also then comes with that of being a business owner, it's like you have to set values for yourself. So my main values are being versatile, being obviously quality garment, and then being sustainable as well. So if sustainability is like my core value, everything I do, I have to have that in the back of my mind. So when it comes to like choosing my packaging, the threads that I use, the tissue paper, like, you know, being a creative person, no matter what creative kind of like field you're in, usually it comes with a bit of waste, right? So like with the garments, I'm always there's so many offcuts. And it's like, what am I going to do with all this fabrics? It builds up really quickly. So I actually separate the larger bits from the smaller bits. With the really small bits I cut up and I'll like stuff them into ottomans, which takes ages. With kind of the medium-sized bits, I make reusable vegetable bags and scrunchies, things like that, like little small bits that I can like throw into someone's parcel for free, because it's just like I'd rather quickly whip this up and like give it to somebody so they can use it and have like a little treat rather than it go into the waste. And then with the bits that are sort of like an A4 size or larger, I've been collecting them for ages, and one of my old team members used to take them away and she would make like patchwork dresses or bags and things like that. And I was like, that's awesome. And then she's now gone overseas, so I've got those like those bigger bits, and I'm like, oh gosh, what am I going to do? And then I thought about it and I got in this really creative space. I don't know if you're a creative, but when you get into that zone, you're like, I just want to make something, like what can I make? Usually I'll go into a fabric shop and like burst around and like whatever sparks joy, I'll buy it and take it home and like get creative with it. But I was like, wow, I've got this like whole container sitting here of all these fabrics. So then I just sort of spread it out, took inspiration from Tash, who's my team member who's now gone overseas, of her patchwork. And I was like, you know, it's amazing that she was able to sit down and actually like piece it together and create a garment. So I was like, I'm going to do the same. And it was really fun because I was able to separate it from like autumn tones to like pastel tones and bright colors, and made I think it was 4 or 5 one-of-a-kind dresses, all patchwork together as well. And people love that because my stuff's usually quite like, not neutral, but like simple and timeless. And that's my main focus. So I was like, I don't know if a patchwork dress is timeless, but it's one of a kind. So naturally someone's going to love the idea of like this, like it's more of like a creation of like almost, it feels a bit arty in a way, you know, like I wear quite neutral colors myself, or autumn tones. So when I made that, it went really well, and it made me feel so good as well. And people just really loved the idea. So I think that's going to be like a core design of Danni Rose now is the Nelly dress, and each time it's built up enough of like similar tones fabrics, I can like let people know, and then they, rather than it be just made in that size how I did last time, somebody who's like a size large could choose that color palette and then I'll craft it for them.
Yeah.
So that was really cool. I had so much fun doing that.
Oh yeah, I just thought it was so cool when I saw it pop up on my feed. I was like, oh my gosh, I could imagine. I've got a couple of friends who like they would really suit that because they suit those colors, and they would just love the fact that it's a one of a kind. Like, who wouldn't enjoy that? So like, I really loved seeing that pop up.
The best word to describe it is funky.
Yeah, funky. It's very, and like you said, artsy, like it's very like, I don't know. I can imagine people like sipping on like very particularly ordered coffee in the city with like some really like funky sunglasses, maybe a hat. I don't know. There's like I imagine a lot in my brain. So Danni, do you want to talk a little bit about, I'd like to know, well, for me, particularly over COVID, it opened my eyes to really like wanting to support local. And I mean, that's a bit like ignorant of me to say now, but I just never thought of it before, like a giant pandemic like that. So how did you get on during that, and was that a struggle for you both in your business?
No,
or
like
you just continue on? And
to be honest, COVID, during that lockdown, that first one, that actually was what made my business become what it is today. And it actually allowed me to basically take it full time. So really similar to the mindset that you were in, like people realizing about all these like small New Zealand businesses, how can we support them? Well, I was actually, because, I said early 2019 was when I started my journey. That was basically when I was making garments, and I would pop down at like weekend markets and have all these little garments, and it was really cool. I was way undercharging myself, but that was my first time selling my garments to like real life people, not just for myself. And I was like, had all this fear around it. Anyway, I'd started doing that at the start of 2019, and actually kind of to the end doing markets. And that was really, really fun. I had such a good time doing that, but I was working full time. So doing that in the weekend and trying to sew was all getting a bit much. And then I think it was, I can't even remember when we went into lockdown. I think it was early 2020, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. And so at that time I had, been a lover of sewing. I had a whole wardrobe stacked up of fabrics that needed to be made into something, but I just kept growing the collection and not quite using it. Anyway, we went into lockdown, and obviously everything shut down, and I was like, oh, this is amazing. I've got however many weeks to just start sewing. This is so exciting. And then I started posting, some of my garments and like naming them and putting them on Instagram. And then hashtag support local was a big thing. And there were so many Instagram and Facebook pages that were finding local businesses and resharing it. And it felt like I just had so much support like around me. So many people were messaging me. And at that time, I couldn't go online and be like, choose from these colors. I just sent them like heaps of different photos of the fabric I had lying, in piles, and was like, choose any fabric you want and I'll make that design. So it was really, that was still one of a kind garments, really. And that obviously grew a lot. I made like over 60 garments, I think, during that time, which was amazing. And then when we kind of stepped out to a certain level, like, I can't even remember how it happened, but basically I was then able to shop online. So I was able to spend all of my savings and buy like tons of this linen fabric. So I had like, 10-meter rolls of it. And that was really exciting because then I had all my garments named and was like, these are my main like linen colors. And it started just to organically grow. And that was all through Instagram as well. And then by the time we sort of came out of lockdown, my business was like, I had so many orders that I had like a 9-week backlog of orders. And it was, amazing because people were just wanting to support local so much and just sharing. It's amazing how much like a recommendation, like if you were to recommend your friend my brand, for example, and be like, oh, I really love the brunch dress, you should check out this girl, how much that friend would take your recommendation and go and like follow me and possibly like buy a garment or something like that. So it was very, very organic. And then that's it. It started growing from there, sort of when I was like, well, now I need to create a website because I'm spending so much time doing admin because it's all in the DMs, like 9 weeks worth of orders. Like I was getting so lost in it. And like transferring money and things like that. I didn't have a website. So then we set up a website. I named my core designs and then launched it, I think 2021 maybe. It's all such a blur, that timeline, but it was really COVID that really, like, I truly believe, like, people having more time on their phone, more thinking about where they're spending their money, like who they're supporting, like, where you spend your money, whether it's $5 at like buying a coffee, at like a small local cafe versus say like Starbucks or something like that. Like everywhere you spend your money, it does count. And I think that's when people started to kind of like catch on to that and make different decisions. So it's quite a journey. It's very exciting.
Totally. So fun, so exciting, and I'm so happy for you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I just love it. I would also love to know your insights, Danni. Like, was it hard for you, and did you have to be quite brave when it came to sort of, you mentioned earlier, like that you were selling things for a lot like less than what they are now, to increase those prices and like on your worthiness, was it like, did you have that kind of like moment within yourself, like, oh, I probably shouldn't?
It was very scary, and it was probably one of the most, like, I'm almost getting a heat rash thinking about like the moment of having to make that decision. So for example, like at the start, because I had all this fabric already and I sourced my whole like final year at uni, the whole collection was made from dead stock fabric, which is, secondhand. So I had so much of that. So when I had purchased all the fabric that people had started originally placing the orders with, I got it for such a lower price. So all I was charging for was basically my time of cutting and sewing plus shipping. I was selling the brunch dress for $99 and now it's $260. So that's just one example of like how much I really had to increase my prices, because then when I started to buy like quality fabric, like brand new from a store as well, not that the dead stock wasn't quality, but I was now buying it brand new as opposed to secondhand. And that increased, like it's around $30 for 1 meter of fabric, and you need 2.2 meters just to make the dress, and that's just the fabric, so there was a lot that was going on. And then there was like website fees, and then all of a sudden there's tax and GST and ACC and everything like this, and I was sort of like, I had no choice. I had an accountant because I was trying to save to buy a house at the time as well, and I was still working in retail during this space, and she said to me, like, if you don't, your business needs to be profitable, and right now you're not making profit, you're basically selling everything at cost, which I thought was all good because I wanted to be an affordable, sustainable fashion brand. That was always my goal. But then I did realize, like, how am I supposed to pay rent somewhere and pay for power and internet, tax, GST, advertising, like the website, there's, like threads, scissors, sewing machines, everything. And it's like, the only way you make money is by selling dresses, but you have to cover all of these other costs, not just your cutting and sewing time. And then if you want to hire someone, which you need to do because you've got too many orders you can't keep up, you also need to pay them too, and like a good wage. I don't want to pay them a low wage. I want them to have like above living wage, which I do. So there was a massive decision, but what I did at the time was I just really was open with my audience, because the name is Danni Rose. I'm Danni Rose, and it's just like I have a direct connection with like my audience and my customers and clients, etc. And I just hopped on and did a story like really openly, very vulnerable, was very like freak out moment, because I just thought no one's going to buy from me anymore. But then what I realized was, like, if someone's associating like a $99 dress with a New Zealand made brand, that's kind of what fast fashion, almost not completely fast fashion, but that's like really similar to what other garments are priced to that are made in overseas, like, so it's like, they're thinking this New Zealand made brand is that price, they're almost associating the quality with that as well. So why is this New Zealand made dress made out of linen $99? Like, it didn't kind of make sense, and I didn't realize that was kind of like a reflection of what people were thinking of the brand as well. And I used to have so many people message me saying my dresses were affordable, and I always thought it was a really good thing. But then I realized it is a good thing for them, but it's not really, like, I don't know. It's hard to say. But as soon as I opened up on my stories and I literally broke down the cost of, like, these are the overheads, this is the fabric, like very transparent. And it was really cool because it almost started like this thing where I did it, I got really, really good feedback, and other brands saw it, and then they started to do the same, like other small New Zealand businesses. And it opened up a whole conversation within, like, you know, the small business community of like New Zealand creators, where they were like, you know, like jewelry companies, other fashion labels, all of that, being like, this is actually what it costs to make a garment. This is the profit. And from that profit, I also have to cover these. And I think when you're making such a dramatic change to your things like prices, and you're actually just really open with your customers about why it is that you're doing that, you know, if they can't afford to buy it, like, obviously that's really unfortunate, and, you know, but people who want it and will still continue to support you, then it, like, it just makes so much sense. And I still try and offer like a lower price down. Like, I do pre-made drops where it's like $40 to $50 cheaper than a made to order, because it's pre-made and it's faster to make. I can get the fabric at a different cost, all these different reasons. And then I'll also sell like the samples and the pre-loved stuff as well. So I feel like everybody from all income can kind of like get a chance to like buy a Danni Rose garment. But unfortunately, like, a made to order New Zealand made garment does have to be in the like mid $200.
Yeah, but I think that's a reasonable price. You know, past Laz, when she was very, very young, would have been like, oh, but I think that's a reasonable price for all of the qualities you've already listed. There's so many perks to it. And like you say, timeless. It fits your actual body. It's not this weird exchange experience where it's like, I have to buy all these different numbers, and then the numbers have a real weird impact on my self-esteem, you know?
Yeah. And how many times have you purchased a brand new garment and washed it and it's come out like
disgusting,
tiny, like small or shrunk or faded, or like so many things. And, you know, for example, like if you went to, you know, like the main, I won't even name names, but if you went to that kind of like big store that most people shop at, which is fine, and you got a dress for like, I think they're about $90 or something at the moment, it's not going to last as long. The fabric usually is a blend as well, so rather than 100% linen, it'll be a blend. It'll fade, it will warp, all those kinds of things. So it's like, would you rather just spend $200 and have something that you know is going to last you 5 years? Like, I've had some of my dresses that I've made for the whole time, and I don't hand wash stuff like I should. I love using the washing machine.
Yes.
And it's still all good, you know, like, it's just, you care for it more as well. Like, if you've invested that much money into a garment, you are going to care for it. And you can on-sell it too. Like, you can on-sell a Danni Rose or any other designer garment and get that money back to invest into something else. So it's like the cycle of your wardrobe, rather than just like buy, throw away, donate, buy, throw away, donate, like really kind of like trying to keep it as much in the system as possible.
Oh, I love.
Sorry, I went on a tangent. I'm very passionate.
No, you're making me feel like insanely like motivated and like rejuvenated, and like I just want to do stuff with my clothes. Like I don't even know. I'm just like catching all these feelings from you. Like, it's so nice. It's so nice to have somebody like really care about things, because yeah, I you don't come across people like you very often, and that reflects in your business because it's so beautiful. Your brand is absolutely stunning, which is why I wanted to have you on and speak with you and ask you all these questions. Danni, for the Walnut listening that is like an avid you know, Shein shopper or any of those other chainy brands that's wanting to sort of make that change and wants to try and invest a little bit more money in some quality clothes and all the rest of it, you know, where it's made, the workers getting paid ethically, all that sort of thing. What's your advice for someone who feels like they don't have a big budget but wish to and want to start investing in garments like this?
Yeah, I've got a few different, it's kind of like a journey that you go on.
Take us, let's go.
This comes from almost a personal experience of mine as well, but because before I learned about the fashion industry while I was at uni, I was like a fast fashion shopper, like through and through. Like, I was like, I've got $100. How many pieces of clothing can I get for this money? I would always go to op shops as well, because I've always been creative, but I just didn't make a connection to like, this top's $5 or $10. There's an issue. It was like, this top's $5. This is amazing. How? And then it's like, anyway, I went on my own journey, and that started with watching a documentary called The True Cost. So I would that's your first starting point, I reckon. It's on Netflix and I'm pretty sure on YouTube as well for free. So watch that. It's not very long, but all that's going to do is really give you kind of like a background into the fashion industry, and hopefully that's going to kind of sit in your mind, in the back of your mind when you make your next purchase. So start there. Second thing I think is definitely finding your personal style as well. And I think this is kind of like a bit of an issue with social media, is because if you're on there, you're seeing like, you know, like different people wearing different outfits all the time, different styles. It all looks amazing. It looks really great. It's like if you go past a store and you see like an outfit on a mannequin or something, and you think that looks great, and then you go try it on, doesn't look as right. It's not really your style, so you don't buy it. But the issue is now buying online, right? You don't get the chance to go and try it on and decide no. And if you're buying off Shein or any other fast fashion company that is online, it's so cheap that you're not going to even, like 90% of people who buy online who don't want their garments will not return it. They'll just keep it or donate it. And then it'll get donated to op shop. No one will buy it. Then it will go into landfill. So that's kind of like an issue there. So it's like, find your personal style, like have a look at your own wardrobe. And it's like, what are the things in your wardrobe that you gravitate towards the most? Like, is it midi length dresses? I don't know, elasticated pants, jeans and a t-shirt? Like there must be, you know, things like outfits that you are your go-to. So like that would be your personal style by thinking about what your outfits are. Then creating, this is what I love, you don't have to do, but like creating a Pinterest board around that style as well. So you get inspiration on that particular style. Like, yeah, whether it's like really wearing lots of black or like retro, vintage, like really pastel, like find your personal style and get an inspiration board from it. Then I love op shopping so much. And like, I know some people don't, but if you can handle going in the op shops and like finding goodies and stuff, it's really good, especially if it's, you know, sorted out by like color or size, because you can go to the colors that you feel comfortable in, or you can go to the size and just flick through it. But I understand op shopping's not for everyone. I love it. I'm there like twice a week. The people know me. It's kind of embarrassing when I go on there. I'm like, it's me again. But if you can do that, another really good way to snap up a bargain, especially like quality garments, is designer wardrobe. So I'm also on there all the time because, you know, things like bags and shoes and all things like that I can't make for myself. I don't make jumpers. Like I don't just wear my own clothes. Like obviously I want quality garments elsewhere, and it is expensive to buy brand new. So, you know, using like the refining tool of that as well to try and, so it felt, because there's hundreds, thousands of things on there. So it's like refining what you're after. Like, are you looking for like a pair of blue jeans in a size 12? And you can even take brand if you want, but basically like using designer wardrobe because it is secondhand. And you can find like good brands on there that people have purchased before and usually like kept in good condition. A little hack there as well is like, 90% of the time I will offer that person slightly less than what they've put it up for, and they usually accept. So if someone's got something up there for $80, you know, you can put through an offer of 60 and they might accept, or they might counter offer.
Yeah,
that's just a tip. Mostly it gets accepted. So those are kind of the more affordable ways. But then also, like, if you are looking to invest in, say, a brand like Danni Rose or another New Zealand made or New Zealand owned brand as well, like, you know, once you've found your personal style, you'll see like this, you'll see what kind of like catches your eye first, and then have a think about it as well. Like I said before, is it comfortable and versatile are one of the main things. Like if it's not comfortable, you're not going to wear it. Like if you don't feel nice and like tight, wrapped up, like restricted things, like don't even go for it, you know, like what looks comfortable and also versatile as well. So can you wear that dress to work with some like boots or whatever, and then can you wear it in the weekends with some slides? Can you wear it with a jacket? And like trying to find like the most versatile piece and investing in that first. For example, like one of my best and my longest garments that I've had around is called the brunch dress, and it's like slightly oversized, got a gathered waist, like grown on sleeves. It's a very, very like simple design, but you can literally wear that to work in the weekends with jumpers, like coats, like anything like that, boots and heels. Like it's the most versatile dress. And with my own ones, I wear them at least twice a week, and it's kind of like trying to find the most versatile garment when you are shopping from like a higher end brand, because you want to get the most wear out of it possible. So that's kind of like the journey, is like understanding the fashion industry first, then finding your personal style, trying to shop secondhand so you can get it at a better bargain, like a better price.
Yeah.
And then when you are ready to invest in like a quality brand, like really thinking about that purchase, like take away the impulse buying of things.
Yeah.
It's the impulse buy that's the bad buys.
Yeah. And I like as a person who has done that, it's like I'm thinking about like so many items that like just sit there and it's like, oh yeah, I'm totally I feel like
definitely. And now one more thing.
Mm.
One more thing is to pull everything out of your wardrobe and create piles. Do it. Throw it all on your bed. It will take you like half a day. Throw it all on your bed, like all your bags, your shoes, and everything, and create piles of like keep, donate, sell, and maybe. So obviously put everything that's keep away. The maybe pile you can come back to, donate, and then like it takes a long time, but once you've done it, like you feel clearer and lighter because you know that everything in your wardrobe, like it's there for a reason. Because otherwise, if people keep buying and buying, they just push it in the wardrobe more and more and more. And then how many times do you like slide everything across and be like, I've got nothing to wear, like while you're filing through your wardrobe, right? And then all of a sudden it's like, man, if I just had like half the amount of clothes, but they all made me feel good, it would be fun to get dressed in the morning and fun to get dressed in the weekend, not like a kind of overwhelming experience. And then you're like, if it, I'll just wear this instead, and then throw on like a jumper that you've worn 3 times that week.
Oh my gosh, actual footage of me literally the other weekend. I got so stressed out from having Fash Parade and it comes with like, you know, gaining weight and things as well. And I still have stuff in there that doesn't fit me and makes me feel like shit every time I try to put it on. It's like it doesn't need to be there, you know? And then,
you should get
I
rid
did
of it.
that.
Yeah.
I did that. I was like, oh, I'll just wear a jumper.
Oh, you should just get rid of it, honestly, because like the main thing, like for years and years, I had these like very cool vintage jeans on that I could like just do up. They were so stiff, but they were so nice. And, you know, like there's so many things like that. And it's like, oh, I'll be able to fit it like one day, like maybe next year, whatever. All of a sudden I've had the jeans for like years and years. And I'm like, why am I holding on to those? Because every time I try and put those jeans on, I feel upset. If just get freaking rid of them, and then you don't even think about it. You just buy the next pair of jeans that actually fit you well, and then you're like, oh, these are my favorite jeans, are so comfy, instead of like, God, when can I fit these jeans? And like, you know, so many people have clothes from when they were younger and teenagers and stuff as well that is still nice, but they just have never really worn, or I might wear it to this event, but it's like, if you haven't worn it in the last year, get rid of it.
I love it. Gotta be savage. Be a savage with the things. I'm also
love your
like
wardrobe, you know, like your wardrobe's gotta excite you.
Definitely. I love that like ideology of like your clothes too, because they're such a big part of like who you show yourself as in the world. You know, you got to feel good in them, otherwise you just feel like crap.
100%.
Yeah, thank you so much for all these hot tips. Oh, Walnut, I'm so excited. I can't wait to get my own Danni Rose item. I'm so excited. I'm going to snoop. I might even buy some today. But before we sort of wrap up, if there is a Walnut listening who is like, oh my God, where do I buy mine? How can I connect with this amazing, inspiring woman? Where can the Walnuts listening find you on the internet?
Instagram is Danni Rose Designs, and my website is dannirosedesigns.com. So those are kind of like the 2 main places that I'll go. And on my website as well, there are like little blog areas where I've sort of done tips as well, just because I'm so passionate about, I'm not trying to sit here and like make everybody buy a Danni Rose dress and let's spend lots of money. It's just I want people to like love their wardrobe and like experience with shopping to just be really you know, like a positive experience rather than like an overwhelming, stressful experience.
Absolutely. And I think that shines through from how you speak about all of your items and the actual industry itself. So like you're just so amazing. Danni, before we finally end, and Walnut, I'll pop all of that information in the show notes so you can just like click straight on, but I'm sure you've already gone onto Instagram already. But Danni, my token question I ask all my guests on the podcast is, what does being a walnut mean to you?
Well, obviously the main thing around it, especially with how you speak about being a walnut as being brave. And for me, it's honestly like, if you have an idea in your mind that sparks so much joy, it's like take any steps you can towards whether it's creating like a business, for example. But yeah, it's just being brave of being able to do it without like the fear of judgment of other people as well. Because I guarantee a lot of people have ideas and things that they want to do, and they like it sparks joy and it gets them excited, how I am about my brand. But then the fear of like other people's judgment of starting it can really pull them back from taking that step. And it's sort of like, if you can just not worry, especially at the starting phase of a business as well, like for a full year, I didn't show my face on my business account at all. I don't even know how I got by doing that, because I was so worried about people who knew me from like school or uni or whatever, like judging me and feeling like, oh, cute, she's trying to start a fashion label, like that's what I had a fear of. So I was kind of like, even though it was my name, I felt like I was hiding. But as soon as I sort of was like, fuck it, like I'm not going to worry about anything that people think about me, like what they say, like they're not even like, they're down here, I'm up here, like the people who are going to support me, like my customers are going to love this. And as soon as I started to do it, my brand started to grow and it became more authentic, so I could just show up and chat and just be myself. And that's another, like, be brave, like make those decisions, like stop worrying what everybody else thinks. And it sounds easy when you say it, but I trust me, the first couple of times it's going to feel like you're going to get the heat rash, like when I raise my prices and all that kind of stuff, and you're going to be stressed, but just get so much easier. You would have experienced probably from launching your podcast, your first few episodes versus how you are now. Like you're just like, oh, I've got a podcast, and it's just normal and you just show up every day. But probably at the start, I'm guessing you were a bit hot. Well, I don't know. I'm assuming you would have been a bit nervous and
Absolutely. I couldn't speak. My voice would go, I still get like this when I speak in front of, rooms, but my voice goes all like clammy and I can't and I shake. And I used to have fully like every single interview question, and I would, I'd have everything written, like scripted and everything. And now I just like, it's always felt really fun, because even when it was like nerve-wracking and when it was like a walnutting and I had to be brave, I felt so accomplished after I had done every little thing. Even though you get the heat rash, even though you get the stumbly voice, afterwards you just feel so good about yourself. And that compounded that with lots of practice just puts you in a place of like, oh my god, I love my life. I can't believe this is real.
Yeah, and you're the one who's decided to do it as well. It's like you decide to start a business, you decide to start a podcast. Like no one around you's going to do it for you. So if you have the idea, like just move forward with it. Do anything to start.
Absolutely. It is so beautiful. Thank you
I've
so
kind of
much.
rambled. Hopefully I answered that question okay.
No, I felt the fire. I felt the butt fire. It was really good. Thank you very, very much. Is there anything else left on your heart that you feel like you'd like to share?
No, I feel like I've kind of like, like I'm just so passionate about my business, and like not everybody has to be passionate about their job and everything, but it's just, if you do have something you're passionate about, it doesn't have to be a job. Like if you love making jewelry, like make the jewelry. Like if you love making clothes, like do it and everything like that. But just, if it sparks joy, like continue to do it no matter what anybody else says.
Thank you very, very much. Walnut, if you enjoyed this episode, take a little screenshot and share, tag us, let us know that you're listening. If you've got any questions, send them through to me or to Danni directly. Thank you so much for your time and for being here and sitting with us and chatting with us. I so appreciate you. I love you. And Danni, thank you so much for popping onto Walnut Wednesday. It's been an absolute pleasure. I can't wait to become like online friends in real life and buy some of your garments and all the things. And I just want to say thank you for all you do in the world and for your passion and for like trailblazing the way for other walnuts, for other women who felt like they couldn't do it. So thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. It's been so nice to come on and chat to you, honestly. Such a good time.
Perfect. All right. Walnut, have a happy Walnut Wednesday, and I will talk to you next week. Bye.
Bye.